Sisyphus Epilogue. Sisyphus limping towards the town. Tattered, dirty clothes, scratches bleeding, calloused hands, sunburned skin. Crash. Sisyphus leaves town every morning, pushing a rock up the mountainside. No one knows why or cares. Until one afternoon, a boulder came thundering down the mountain, crashing into the wall of the castle. Later, Sisyphus came trudging down the hill behind it. Scolding. The king berated Sisyphus. You nearly got yourself killed, others hurt, and badly damaged our town. Besides almost causing death and destruction, you are wasting your time, energy, and talents. Also, your dangerous hobby of pushing rocks up the hill is setting a poor example for the children. Sisyphus, instead of getting blistered and bleeding from all that pointless manual labor, the king asked, why don't you learn how to be a productive member of our community? He thanked the king for being responsible for the welfare of the townspeople. Then Sisyphus went out and started pushing the rock up the mountainside again. Castles. The chief architect said, Sisyphus, you're all sunburnt from doing manual labor outside all day, walking up and down the mountain. Showing the plans they had drawn up for great castles and fortresses, the architect asked, why don't you learn how to draw blueprints and come to work in our professional office? He thanked the architects for designing a safe and beautiful town. Then Sisyphus went out again and started pushing the rock up the mountainside. Walls. The senior stonemason said, you are crippled over with a sore back, Sisyphus, from pushing heavy boulders up the steep hill. We are building great walls for castles, cathedrals, and fortresses. The masons showed him the scaffolding, pulleys, and winches they used to lift heavy weight to high places. One asked, why don't you learn bricklaying skills and join our Masons Guild? He thanked the masons for building walls straight and tall and strong. Then Sisyphus went out and again started pushing the rock up the mountainside. Bricks. The brickmakers said, Sisyphus, your hands are all blistered and bleeding from pushing those rough boulders up the mountain. They showed him the hammers and chisels they used to make smooth stone blocks and bricks for the Great Wall. Why don't you learn how to use these tools, they asked, and come to work every day in our workshop? He thanked the laborers for breaking large round rocks into smooth square blocks. Then again Sisyphus went out and started pushing the rock up the mountainside. Soldiers. The town soldiers marched along the fortress walls, protecting the king's castle and the great cathedral. The soldiers said, we are preparing to defend against the threat of an enemy attack on our town. They showed Sisyphus the catapults and cannons they used to blast heavy balls through the air. The captain in charge asked, instead of pushing boulders up the mountain in your tattered clothes, why don't you put on an army uniform and join our ranks? He thanked the soldiers for defending their town. Then Sisyphus again went out and started pushing the rock up the mountainside. Battle. On the mountain peak, Sisyphus could see all that was threatening his town. He carried a boulder to the east and pushed it off the peak. When he saw a threat coming from the south, he rolled a boulder in that direction. The enemy exclaimed, their weapons are more deadly than we expected. They're sending boulders down upon us from all directions. However, the soldiers in his town said, "Our cannons can't shoot and our catapults can't throw, but we seem to be winning this battle." The captain asked, "How can Sisyphus be single-handedly more effective than our whole army?" All day long, Sisyphus rolls boulders down the mountain sides. His hands start bleeding, back muscles aching, and the sun burning his skin. His clothing was getting dirty and torn. Celebration. The town was saved, and all the people rejoiced. The king said, "Sisyphus was more powerful than our soldiers with their catapults and cannons. He protected our town when everything else failed." The soldiers said, "Let's push a boulder up to the Sisyphus peak for him." On the mountaintop, they found no fortresses, walls, or bricks, or boulders, and no Sisyphus. The architect showed the spot from where Sisyphus rolled the boulders down on their foe. Pointing west towards the sunset, one of the masons asked, "Where is he going?" The brickmakers, along with everyone else, could see, down in the valley, Sisyphus limping towards the town, tattered, dirty clothes, scratches bleeding, calloused hands, sunburnt skin. The end.